Hey, what's up? Good evening, everyone. Alright, let's take a look at Bitcoin and the total crypto market cap to get the night started. We just had a pretty dirty drop there as soon as Bitcoin broke the 0.5 fib level. So any of you that were listening to the past couple of streams know that I was waiting to see what happens at this 0.5 fib level break here. And as soon as that broke, pretty well the entire crypto market just took a nice dump. So now let's take a look at what's going on now. And I had just actually upgraded TradingView Pro for the first time in a while, so I now have some volume profile here that I can also take a look at. So I'm actually really liking the looks of the volume profile for at least this range here. You can see there's a lot of volume where we are right here at this current fib level. So typically how it works with the volume profile is if you break into one of these areas where you see low volume, that's where you can tell where you're getting close to potentially getting a nice break and run. Alright, so the weekly MACD still shows bears gaining momentum, so that's not looking great. And the daily actually still shows bears gaining momentum, so I'm not liking the looks of that either on the daily MACD. Bearish engulfing candle coming down, attempting to keep on rallying to the downside currently. 4 hour, you could see the bearish momentum getting weaker, and we got a tiny bit of bullish divergence here, but with the larger time frames looking the way they are right now, I don't really know if that's going to be enough to hold it at the moment. So ideally, we want to see Bitcoin hold above this 32,000. I'll just zoom out a little more so we can get the exact fib level. So that'd be $32,485. But at the dead minimum, we want to see Bitcoin holding above around I'd say about $29,000 here. As soon as we see this break right here, the market's going to be absolutely destroyed if it does break. So over the coming days, and it's probably only going to be days the way that the market's in a downtrend at this point. I don't know if it's even going to take weeks to play out. We're going to see what happens whenever Bitcoin gets down to this fib level. So if we can hold here and start to show signs of a reversal, that might start to look nicer at that point. And altcoins, they're not going to be as wrecked if we start to see Bitcoin starting to flatten out and come back around. But at the same time, if this does break, the whole market's going to be in for a lot of blood over the coming weeks. Personally, I'm still not bearish on this cycle until we break below these levels. Once we get to that point, I'm really not liking the looks of this cycle. So we are probably still going to get a considerable pullback in some of the coins if Bitcoin keeps coming down. But Bitcoin, as long as we can hold above these levels, it'll probably be alright for coming back around, but I'm really concerned if we start to see that come back below there. Could be the end of the cycle at that point. don't really see much for bullish divergence going on smaller time frames, like maybe a tiny bit if you can even call it that here, but yeah, a little bit there. I'm not really liking the looks of the larger time frames at all. The smaller time frames looks like it's attempting to hold, but we're going to have to see how this plays out. And let's take a look at the total crypto market cap. And total crypto market cap's pretty well looking the same as Bitcoin. You could see the weekly MACD still shows bearish momentum growing. Daily shows bearish momentum still growing. Uh, 4 hours, same thing as Bitcoin. Looks like you can see the bears losing a bit of momentum there. And a bit of bullish momentum on the 1 hour with a tiny bit of bullish divergence. Smaller time frames looks like it's trying to hold, but larger time frame still doesn't look that great. And XRP shows bearish momentum still growing on the weekly. Bearish momentum still growing on the daily. XRP is looking like Bitcoin total crypto market cap on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. The 4 hour shows the bears are losing a bit of momentum, and the 1 hour shows that the bulls are gaining a bit of momentum. Tiny bit of bullish divergence, but going to have to see if that'd be enough to make it hold, because we're at some pretty critical levels at this point. So the 786 would be 52 cents on XRP, so I wouldn't be surprised if that comes down a bit more to there and see how it looks at that point. Yeah, you can see right there it's attempting to bearishly engulf and still come down lower, and bearish momentum right there on the daily. Let's take a look at precious metals and see how those are looking. Maybe that'll be a bit less depressing today. I'm liking the way that we closed the week on gold. Attempting to break above the fib level. Attempting to form that higher high I've been talking about that we want. Got a tiny bit of 4 hour bearish divergence right here. Wouldn't be surprised if we came back down and touched the support level here and took another crack at the fib. There's actually 1 hour bullish divergence though, so maybe it'll just consolidate here for a little bit while it decides what it wants to do. So far gold's looking nicer than just about everything else I took a look at today. So gold has that going for it. And now let's see how silver's doing. I'm liking the looks of silver as well. Got a little bit of bullish momentum there on the weekly. And daily shows the bullish momentum growing here on the daily. Bullish engulfing candle to close the week. The 4 hours got this little tiny bit of bearish momentum started there, but there's not even any 4 hour bearish divergence, so that's still looking alright. And shows the bulls are just losing a little bit of momentum there on the 1 hour. So silver the same as gold. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see consolidations at this level for maybe a day or two at least while we figure out what it wants to do. The rest of the market's very volatile right now, so maybe the volatility will just cause precious metals to get a nice quick move early in the week next week. Next week's going to be a really interesting week to see for every asset class. So I'm liking the looks of precious metals more than just about everything else today. And let's check out my little Thor node here and see how that's doing. Well, I'm impressed there. This was actually about the only asset that I've really accumulated over the past little while, and I have no complaints whatsoever here because this seems to be the only thing that isn't taking a big dirty dump lately that I've looked at besides precious metals. Every crypto that I've checked out today hasn't been looking that great, but Thor is at least holding up, so I'm really liking the looks of that. Higher low and higher high on the 4 hour. 1 hour looking nice as well. Stochastics tempting to still stay bullish. Higher highs and higher lows. I like the look of that 12-hour stochastic. It's looking like the same thing, attempting to form higher highs and higher lows. Yeah, I'm actually still liking the looks of Thor, surprisingly. Oh yeah, and that weekly just looks beautiful on it too. The half-hour stochastic looks like it's cross bearish there, but still attempting to form a high here, so. And up 10% on the day, so I'm really liking the looks of Thor. I'm actually pretty surprised by this asset at the moment. I'm going to take a look at the one asset that I know of that would be similar to Thor, Power, see how that's doing as well. Okay, so Power isn't looking quite as nice as Thor is today. Okay, I can see why though. The stochastic right here is coiling up and looking like it's attempting to either break and run, which that would kind of surprise me the way that the market's looking right now, or it could just bounce and then start to come down here. But I'm actually kind of liking the looks of this on the daily here, flattened out. Stochastic's coiling up like it wants to try and cross bullish. The 12-hour actually already is cross bullish, so that's great. The 4 hours looking like the same thing as the daily. It's attempting to decide if it wants to cross or bounce. I don't think this looks as bullish as Thor does at the moment, but it does look more bullish than pretty close to the rest of the crypto market at the moment. So Power looks at least alright to me at the moment. Alright, let's see how CRV is doing today. Giant indecision candle on the monthly. Weekly shows bulls losing momentum on the MACD, and there's a big bearish candle there on the weekly. Daily shows bearish momentum growing. Bearish engulfing candle on the daily. That could definitely be looking better. The 4 hour at least looks like the bears are starting to lose momentum there, so that's nice. And 1 hour shows bullish momentum growing. Wouldn't be surprised if we've seen a bit of consolidation here and this attempted to keep on going to the downside, but this will probably depend on what happens with Bitcoin and the macro, same with the rest of the crypto market. Does look more bearish than bullish at the moment to me though. And let's take a look at the stock indexes and see how those are doing today. Last I checked, these were absolutely wrecked. Okay, the Dow Jones. And you can see just all these wicks off the top here. Doesn't look like it wants to form a nice strong candle up. And very significant weekly bearish divergence here. And you can see it's attempting to break under the support level there. And if you look at the daily, it actually had just closed underneath the support level actually. And that RSI isn't looking great. If that forms a low below there, I'm not liking the looks of that either. It's not looking great. Going to see what happens on Monday, but unless they start printing out some money again or something, I don't really like the looks of the stock indexes personally. I've been saying that for probably 2 weeks now, that the stock indexes aren't looking great, but that dump I was talking about looks like it's playing out. Oh yeah, definitely. Like, look at how wrecked the NASDAQ is. First bearish candle on the monthly in quite a while. Lower low on the RSI here. Bearish divergence is clear on the weekly. Bearish engulfing candle. Multiple bearish engulfing candles on the daily and lower low on the RSI. Would not be surprised whatsoever if we see that pull back to 13,026 or even 10,689 or 8,800, something between that range. Now that would be very extreme for the stock indexes, but honestly the way that we've just had this big crazy rally and there's been so much money printed out, I think we're in for some kind of extreme movement on stock indexes, either a big crash or some form of hyperinflationary environment, unless they manage to get the money printing under control better than I understand that they can. So NASDAQ trash, Dow Jones trash, S&P 500 also looks like trash. Yeah, all major stock indexes look absolutely horrible to me at the moment. Now, this is the US, so the Federal Reserve could just print out a bunch of money and start pumping the markets again. But just based purely on the technicals, the stock indexes look disgusting. Lower low on the RSI, bearish momentum growing. Bearish engulfing candle there. Multiple bearish engulfing candles on the daily. Lower low on the RSI. Strong bearish momentum growing there on the daily. Yeah, bearish momentum growing on the 4 hour, and the RSI is attempting to form a lower low. So all three of the major stock indexes that I typically take a look at all look horrible in my opinion at the moment. Alright, now let's see how Hex is holding up. Okay, so Hex isn't looking great either. So you can see we almost had a nice little triple bottom here before the macro turned around, and now we just got a bearish engulfing candle below that. So that's not looking great on the daily. Weekly actually has some bearish momentum growing as well, so I'm not liking the looks of that. 4 hours at least attempting to hold. Bearish momentum's getting weaker, bullish divergence, slight bullish momentum starting to grow, and 1 hour bullish divergence. This is going to depend on what happens with the macro likely. So if Bitcoin comes back around, I can't see this having much of a problem coming back around. But if Bitcoin keeps on dumping, I would not be surprised if we were to see this get down around, let's see. Probably somewhere around this 13-cent level, or this fib line here, which would be 786 at 11.2 cents. So if Bitcoin keeps coming down, I'd be keeping an eye between this range probably to see if it's looking like it's ready for a bounce. I don't like the looks of it on the larger time frames, but if Bitcoin comes back around, maybe the smaller time frames will be able to bring those back around. We'll have to see how this plays out over the next week. Alright, now let's see how Time Wonderland's doing. Yeah, pretty well how I expected. Not looking that great either. Now look at that drop. So just 3 months ago, this was trading at almost $10,000. And now we're just down around 900. That's something. So we had some pretty clear bullish divergence here on the daily, but as soon as that broke, it wasn't looking that nice there. That was up around $1,700 roughly, and then that broke and dropped about half price from there. I'm interested to see how this bounces back, if it bounces back. Yeah, this just looks absolutely floored. If the time team brings it back, this is a great accumulation zone, but the changes that Time Wonderland's been making lately, I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. Is there any assets that you guys want me to take a look at for you tonight? At least looks green on the monthly, but you could see that nice wick trying to drop below the support level there. And on the weekly, you could actually see the bearish momentum getting weaker there, so I'm not liking the looks of that. And you could also see this candle attempting to break under the support level here. Bearish momentum growing. I'm going to be watching for this to drop below here. And there's also a bearish engulfing candle there. And it's looking like a lower low on the RSI as well. So, Matic's not really looking that great. Same thing we've been seeing a lot today. The 4 hour shows the bears starting to lose a bit of momentum. Probably going to be 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour shows that the bulls are starting to gain momentum. So, it's showing signs of consolidation. So this is probably going to depend on what happens with the macro as well. If Bitcoin continues to dump, this is just going to keep on dumping likely. Probably be in for a dirty dump. And if Bitcoin comes back around, well, probably wouldn't be that hard for Matic to turn around and start running again. Yeah, if there's nothing you guys want me to check out for you tonight, I'm probably just going to go back and take another look at Thor for a couple of minutes, and then I'll call her a night. Honestly, I love the looks of this chart. Everything just looks horrible, but not this. This is one of the few cryptos that's holding up really nicely compared to everything that's going on right now. Just based purely on a perspective from the chart, I find this looks pretty good. Stochastic's bullish, and that's on the 12-hour. 4 hours bullish, attempting to come back around and cross bullish on the daily. Consistent higher highs and higher lows. Now that I'm thinking about it, it looks almost like it's attempting to form a little handle here for a cup and handle. If that's the case, this is really looking nice right now. Yeah, this looked almost like it could have been one here, but this is actually more flat and lined up to this side of the cup, so this actually kind of might make a little more sense to be the handle. Plus, typically, I believe you'd also get the handle on the right here, so Thor, I really like the looks of this chart now that I'm starting to look at this more. Let's see how long it had even taken to get up here. Yeah, so within 3 weeks it went from down around $15 range to almost $200, so that's over a 10x in less than a month. And this asset's still looking bullish for the time being. Oh yeah, look at that, attempting to rally now on the 4-hour. It's kind of looking like fine art to me in the middle of all the mess. So I'd probably give this the nicest crypto chart of the day. And if there's nothing that you guys want me to check out for you tonight, I'm going to call it a night. No, I'm just waiting for that stochastic to see if that crosses. It's going to be beautiful if it does. Alright, well have a great night everyone. Talk to you again on Monday.